On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, we are back with the $700 1984 Bronco II. And today, we're going to start this thing up.
And today, we're going to triple its value.
Yeah, that's true too. There's no doubt about that. It's going way... This is straight to the moon right here. Diamond hands. What is going on, guys? I'm Watch Chair Go, and today we are here with the Bronco II, like I said. And yesterday, of course, we took the cat out, we got the fuel lines in, and now we have created this. So let's cut back to the welder and getting everything set up.
It's Christmas time! Look at all these welders. So we need to weld Josh's exhaust, of course, as we talked about yesterday. So we've got the Tombstone arc welder, we've got the multi-process Vulcan, we have Josh's Harbor Freight. This is the Chicago electric welder, and his shield over here. We have the old Lincoln pipeliner. So we have AC and DC arc welders. There's a flux core wire feed
Up by the Corvette.
over there. You can't see it. There's just so many welders here.
Welcome to my welding channel. I don't know how to weld though. I'm gonna learn.
We definitely have more welders than welders here. I don't know what I'm doing with these things. I'm a little dangerous.
I'm so pumped for the multi-process though. Look at that.
It's gonna do everything. After much ado, it is time to build the test pipe for the Bronco for our O2 bung here. And we have the new welder all set up, and it's super sick. Check that out. It's got the screen, and it has like auto setup, all kinds of epic options on there. And now whenever I'm welding, welcome to Flavortown.
We need a proper welding tool now.
Yeah, I have a clamp that might help. I don't know.
I got a clamp right here, built in.
What if we just clamp that to that? Would that help?
I don't think so. Someone want to roll it.
Oh, well, all right.
As I weld, I'm just gonna do some tacks for now.
Okay. First time on the new welder. Why does that seem perfect?
That's a tack.
I was like, man, that works too well. And now it's welded, and it's in place. Look at that. So we've got exhaust gaskets. You want me to hold this while you bolt?
Yeah.
Okay. And this looks like it's gonna fit perfectly. It's got an O2 bung built into it, right there. So, mega upgrades. You wanna clean the mating surfaces? Because they're terrible. I've got the bristly brush.
My favorite toy, the 3M Spinny Boy. Pull all the gas material off in 1 second. Also, you can see the factory exhaust was leaking like crazy. And then this one has a lot of gasket material on it. Much better.
So the Bronco has a couple other little issues, and obviously while we're doing the EFI setup, we're trying to fix all of them. And there are two gauges that don't work: oil pressure and coolant temp sensor. They've never worked on the gauge cluster here. And I think we found out why, because the previous owners, when they were gonna do the carb swap, cut every wire out of the thing, right? So obviously we can actually cut every wire out of this because it has CAN bus and modern technology, and the Sniper is just so much better than the old EFI that was on this thing. But what we found here are the wires that were cut. So if you look, white with red stripe right there should be oil pressure, and red with white stripe right there, you can see it looks a lot better over here, should be coolant temp. So I actually got some wire here. Oh, you got the, yes.
The pigtail.
The pigtail, so we can hook the thing up. Cool. Well, what we're gonna do here is try to ground out these things and see if the gauge responds. Touching it to ground. That should be coolant temp.
didn't move, but like I said, it's cold.
I might not have a great connection there either. All right, so I'm grounding the coolant temp sensor here. You ready?
I'm ready.
That work?
Not yet.
I might not have a good
I
connection.
don't think you have a good ground. There we go.
Okay, now this should be, I'm switching to oil temp. If I can get the pin in there.
Oil pressure is moving.
Oil pressure. Cool. Sweet. Now all we have to do is basically build our own wiring harness. I'd like to get every wire out of here because it's a bit of a disaster. So we can definitely clean this engine bay up and make it look super, super clean. And Josh has the factory pigtails there. We can throw on each of the senders so it'll look nice. To test those gauges in the cluster, I just shorted the wires to ground with a meter lead. Super easy to do, quick test. And when you ground them out, the gauge should go all the way up. So that answered all of our questions in a couple of seconds. And I've already pulled out one of the factory, the coolant temp switch. Pulled that out. That's the Holley one right there. And then this will be the gauge sender right there. And now that we know where the wires that actually matter on the truck are, which is literally just the gauges, all of this that's a disaster, it's all going away right now. So I'm just going to cut all of this tape off the harness, and we're going to cut all this back to do like a nice wire tuck. Only a few wires are staying in this harness. Basically, those ones right there. They go to the starter solenoid and all that sauce. So I got all the tape off the wiring harness, and it looks better already because I'm about to obliterate all of these wires that go to nowhere.
Oh, hey, that one's still good. You can just put some tape on that.
Yeah, that one, that's running the whole car, I would assume.
We could keep that.
I like how this one was just like tucked all the way down in the wheel well, kind of like that.
I might have done that.
Well, it doesn't matter.
So I saw like bare wires hanging out, and I was like, what's this shielding on here? What is this wire?
This must be, it has to have been the ignition, whatever, control module, you know?
Oh, the TFI module from the distributor?
Yep, so I would assume that's why they shielded it.
That checks out.
Yep. And then that one's also really common. I forgot what it is though.
It's the OBD 1 port.
That makes sense.
X4.
That makes sense.
And there should be a power wire next to it, yeah.
There you go.
If it had ABS, there'd be another one for the ABS.
Well, there's about to be a full deletion.
What is this guy?
I don't know. Well, anyway, back to cutting wires out of this thing because it's just a disaster on wheels. So, we had a crazy morning here. Boom! The truck didn't burn down. We're doing good, especially since we're doing this with the battery hooked up. We saw a crazy accident on the way here. It was actually right in front of us and he almost hit us, which was nuts. So there's a 4-lane road. We take to the warehouse here. And there's an F-150, red F-150 coming this way in like the far lane. And then there's us, and right here in front of us, there's a white Explorer. And all of a sudden, red F-150 was like, I don't want to be in this lane no more. So, interesting sound. Anyway, he was like, let me just take out this lady in this white Explorer, and he did exactly that. Came across, tried to come across all the lanes and would have hit us.
I think he was coming for us.
He would have been a real bad day for his truck.
Thankfully, that good Samaritan stepped in the way.
Good Samaritan just dove into action. But we got out unscathed. Her truck like was sliding and like almost hit us, but I shot all the way over and I was ready to hop up on the curb and go off-roading. But anyway, we got it shut down and out of the way just in time. And her car got obliterated. It was Lightning McQueen, fully ka-chowed in the rear, and that red F-150 was totaled. Farva showed up, screaming in an F-150. Crazy. I'm responding to this accident. But all in all, pretty crazy morning. A little more interesting than normal mornings. Just a few minutes later, and most of my wire tuck is complete there. Eventually this will all get completely hidden, but you can see I cut out, I don't know, that many wires, that entire pile on the floor there, all the connectors and all that fun stuff. So that's all gone, and of course this will all get taped up in a minute, and we'll make that look really clean and simple. This wire right here, it is ran off this relay. I'm not sure what that relay does yet, but I do think that's going to end up being the power to the Sniper because it's nice and long. And this weirdly went to nowhere, which seems like it should be the trigger for that relay. So we will figure out what this thing does here in a few minutes, and I will find my power for the Sniper. I do want to stress how easy it is to install this thing. So right here we have the wiring diagram, and it is hilarious. So for almost everyone's use, you could ignore that entire thing. All of that is nothing. And we also are probably ignoring that, other than the tack output. This is the connector that matters right there. Battery positive, battery negative, switched ignition, coil, crank signal. That's it. That's what it takes to run. You don't need anything else. And this harness already has the other magical wire in it. This is a relay for the fuel pump. There's battery fused, and this is fuel pump power. And you run it straight back to the pump. It has enough wire there already. How's that for an upgrade? That is all that wire that was in there before. So that's a lot cleaner. This stuff is still a bit of a mess. I'll probably end up rerouting all of it later, just to make that nice and pretty. So for now, let's get the Sniper powered up. All right, we have everything hooked up, and as you can see, the Sniper screen is alive and well. So we can go to Wizards here and pick our Sniper, pick our engine type. We're gonna run through all that real quick, and this thing should start, we hope.
Our wrench is stronger than I thought.
There you go, looks good. No leaks. Run the fuel pump prime again, you ready?
Yep.
I'm ready, I'm hitting the switch. Let's do this.
Okay.
Definitely not. Okay, starting over. And let me make sure the Sniper has power while cranking, but I think it does. It does reboot when the crank starts, but it was back up. We've been thwarted. We got everything done, and I temporaried the distributor stuff in because I wasn't sure about the wiring on the distributor. I was like, this doesn't seem correct. I went ahead and just shoved the wires out of the distributor into the crank trigger there, and then, of course, we have the coil hooked directly to the coil wire. You can see the yellow to the green follows around to the green on the coil there. That's the negative side of the coil, and we thought we might have a chance at it working, but the deal is we don't have enough energy coming out of that yellow wire to trigger the coil. So we have the fluke hooked up. I have the fluke with the special fluke RPM meter in it. It's really cool. Actually has a clamp, and you can put it in RPM mode, and if there is spark, it'll show up as RPM. So we weren't getting any spark, obviously. What we found out is we have to have the Holley Sniper coil driver, and we just don't have that part. So we are stuck for a little bit until that thing shows up, and this thing will run. Everything else is all set up correctly. Tunes, the config gets uploaded. Everything seems to be working. And we do know our distributor is playing crank trigger correctly because the wideband shows up when it starts cranking. So it's got to be getting a signal. It'll also cause the fuel pump to reprime if it hasn't already primed right then. So we're close. Just need one more part to wrap this thing up. Hey, the engine bay is a lot cleaner. Everything looks pretty, and it'll take like 5 minutes to hook the rest of that up. Literally no time at all to throw the coil driver into the mix. I know I was talking about how easy setting all this stuff up is, but it helps if you have all the parts here. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop, watchjrgo.com, where you get cool shirts, not like this. And please, like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. Well, it looks like now is the perfect time for me to practice my welding. I just can't wait to use this thing more. It's so cool.